promise this will be the fastest car we've ever shot, and I've just taken it for a spin.
By what, about 400 horsepower?
On average, like I think the fastest car we've ever shot was probably
700?
maybe 700. So like this is a couple of hundred horsepower.
Like 300 over.
I haven't had a lot of seat time in Teslas over the years. I've never driven a Model S before, and I've definitely never driven a car with over 1,000 horsepower, which is the case for this Tesla Model S Plaid, and that's what we're checking out in this video. Remember when you were about 8 years old and someone would ask to see how strong you are and you'd flex your biceps to show them? Well, cars want to show off their biceps too, but unfortunately they don't have arms. Instead they have horsepower, a numerical expression of their bicep size or power output. Very few cars have more horsepower or bigger biceps than this Tesla Model S Plaid. With 1,021 ponies, it's a spacious, cup-holder-equipped, and completely street-legal sedan with a good 300 horsepower advantage over just about anything else I've ever driven. The car belongs to my buddy Sean Scott of Auto Depot in Sudbury, Ontario, who texted me to say this would be the fastest car I've ever driven and encouraged me to come out and take a test drive. So the Tesla Model S Plaid is an extremely specialized version of Tesla's Model S flagship sedan that stacks up as a comfortable all-electric cruising car with a spacious cabin that can also run a sub-9-second quarter-mile pass, so quietly there's no need to turn up the Clapton on the stereo. You almost wonder how it's street legal. By the way, the quarter mile is like when you were a kid and someone asked you how fast you could run. Covering a quarter mile in 9 seconds or less is like setting a world record in a sprint. There's almost nothing on the road that'll keep up in a drag race, including cars that push into 7-figure territory. Literally, you could drive your grandmother home from church on Sunday and then head to the drag strip and outrun just about everything there, including the stuff with parachutes. Sean Scott does. He even removes the interior of the car to make it lighter, just to get a few tenths of a second more out of the car. Then he puts his seats back in, loads the family up, grabs a Timmy's, and drives back home using about $1.40 worth of off-peak hydro for every 100 kilometers he drives. So the all-electric Model S Plaid is a psycho car for crazy people who can then take in a completely reasonable road trip with the family. So let me show you a couple of interesting details from here in the driver's seat. First one, obviously, the steering wheel, which is not a wheel, it is this yoke, they call it. We have the bottom half of the steering wheel here, but nothing up above. Other thing to notice here too, there are no stalks on either side of this. Everything is happening right on the steering wheel. There's my turn signals, left and right, my lights. Cruise control is just press this button, there's the horn, washer, voice command. Now, if you've never used a steering wheel like this before, and I certainly haven't, it can be a little bit awkward and confusing at first, but after a couple of minutes, you'll get right into the swing of it and probably even appreciate this a little bit. Look, one of the first things they show you in performance driver training is that your hands stay 9 and 3 and they don't move unless there's a reason to move them. So this is the optimal position for your hands to stay here. If you've got to make a smaller or sharper, tighter turn, you can do that as well. Without having the stalks around the steering wheel, all your controls are right here at your thumbs, which means that you can work everything pretty much without having to take your hands off the wheel at all. We get up close there. You can see you can actually select the angle that you want from this screen. It's such a big screen, I've actually got to pull the camera all the way back here to show you all of it. But when I do, look at that. You can tilt it to the center or over to the passenger side. And that's motorized. And I think that is a really awesome touch. Very cool. The seats are plump and pillowy, soft and forgiving like a well-worn leather sofa. You sit down low, the driving position is very anti-crossover, and you're surrounded by the cabin and not sitting above it, and seated in the center of the action. Around town, I mostly used the chill drive mode, which drastically limits power and makes the smoothest, most relaxed ride possible. Here, the shocks are soft and pillowy, the throttle is sludgy, the steering is light and lazy, and that's a perfect recipe for a relaxed drive in commuter traffic, where it's very easy for drivers to be smooth with the controls. You glide along in virtual silence, no engine sound, no power curve, no shifting, no idle start-stop. The sensation of acceleration presents as a swelling of G-forces in your backside and nothing else. In chill mode, the Tesla Model S Plaid can still devour an entire intersection before anyone else's torque converter is even meshed up, with just a little poke on the pedal. You'll want to be careful and use the cruise control. This much smoothness and torque with such little noise will send heavy-footed drivers on a one-way ticket to a court-mandated driver's license review if they aren't careful. On the highway, the Plaid isn't the most quiet or comfortable riding machine you could spend the better part of this sort of money on, about 200,000 Canadian by the way. And I did notice a few more interior panel rattles and clicks than I like for the money too. Still, even on the badly beaten secondary highways of Northern Ontario, the ride was a little jarring from time to time, but ultimately more than peaceful enough to relax on the move. Mostly it's a relaxing experience, and you won't even need to raise your voice to talk to whoever's on the phone or sitting next to you in the passenger seat. That's what I like to call road trip ready, where the Tesla Model S Plaid is capable of being a total four-wheel chill zone if you like. First, engage the Plaid drive mode, basically the opposite of chill. Now everything is frisky and furious, the ride stiffens, the steering heavies, and the electric motors are ready to strike. One motor drives both front wheels and each rear wheel gets its own motor for 3 in total. An impossibly small amount of throttle input is now required to see the Model S Plaid gush past slower traffic, explode out of merge lanes, and blast past 18-wheelers almost as quickly as you can get the accelerator to the firewall. You swear every time you do this because that accelerator pedal precisely and immediately controls how much pressure is squeezing the juices out of your organs. Get it near the firewall, and the horrifying gut punch acceleration borders on uncomfortable, which is fantastic. A few on-screen clicks calls up drag strip mode, a launch control function that first engages something called cheetah stance and then blasts you from 0 to 100 in 2 seconds. Roughly 1 to 1.5 seconds quicker than just about anything else on this side of $1 million and some supercars above.
Okay, we're ready. Good?
Yep.
Here we go.
Oh, oh my God. Oh, it hurts.
Felt like I got body checked.
Whew.
When drag strip mode is engaged, you wait a moment, or 2 to 3 minutes in my case thanks to the cold weather, for the battery to ready itself for launch. Once it's preconditioned, the driver is alerted that the battery is now ready to deliver sufficient power to liquefy their brains via a little orange icon on the cluster. Now you hard press and hold the brake pedal and floor the accelerator at the same time. This triggers cheetah mode, which pulls the Plaid's nose tighter to the road and sticks its tail in the air, ready to pounce. The subsequent prompt advises that cheetah mode is ready a moment later. Releasing the brake pedal fires the starting gun and triggers a variety of explosive sensations. The 3 motors shriek away in near silence. From the first inch of movement, the G-forces pushing forward on the occupants resembles being rear-ended by a dump truck going about Mach 5. I wonder if they reinforced the seat backs on this model because I thought mine was going to snap. As the monster thrust squashes the air out of your lungs, you can take in the instrument cluster's warp drive animation, alongside the tunnel vision caused by the torque squashing the fluid in your eyeballs. If you simultaneously swear, laugh, and feel dizzy here, you're a completely normal human being. And here's a true story. I'd been stuffed up for a few days, and the first time I tried this launch, the torque squeezed my inner sinuses so hard that the offending blockage rapidly vacated my left nostril. That's nostril-clearing torque on demand. But the main thing about the Plaid's launches is that they're absolutely perfect. Even a hard launch on a not totally even surface did nothing to solicit more than a quarter spin of a single wheel, or a single squirm from the driveline. The Plaid just hooks up and vacates the premises in a laser straight line, with no drama and no noise every single time. I also found the brake feel to be impressive, and usually with electric cars I don't. That's because their brakes work a little differently than they do in a regular car, and they can often feel vague or numb as a result. The Plaid's brake pedal feels surprised with a precise initial bite, easy modulation, great pedal feel during hard use, and a strong sensation that more stopping force is just a slight pedal pressure increase away. Like my favorite performance cars, the Plaid's brakes feel strongest and most precise when worked hard. So anyways, my mind is blown, and now everything I drive will feel slow, even my Dodge Viper. Sure, the Model S Plaid is big and pricey and not for everyone, but I've never driven a machine with such a wildly psychotic split personality, and I'm not sure I ever will again. So that's what we think of this thing. Thank you, Sean Scott at Auto Depot, for the experience.
Thank for the chest pain.
Thank you for crushing camera guy James's chest, clearing out my sinuses. I'll find the glasses in the back seat. Until next time, take care and drive safe. If you liked this video, we've got plenty more like it, so consider hitting the subscribe button down below so you never miss a new upload, leaving a like if you learned something new, and until next time, take care and drive safe.